my hair always looks so weird? Also, this light is terrible. Okay. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Mary Margaret. Again, back in the morning where it belongs. I have virtual court this morning. I work in a court. I'm not like going to court as a dependent. I have virtual court this morning, but for me, that happens at the physical court, so I have to get going in a little bit here. But I have not have enough time to both find something to do a video about and do the video. So instead, I'm going to do probably a pretty short video on a very short tarot card reading of myself. Now, last Tuesday, I did, for Tutorial Tuesdays, go over some of the tarot cards, but this, this will probably not just include the major arcana, and especially definitely will probably not just include the 3 cards from the major arcana that I went over. But we're going to do this down and dirty, real fast. So the reading that I'm going to do today is one that I sort of discovered over the weekend, I think. I don't actually know what even day is it? I don't know. But it's a quick three card spread. And it's just like one you can do sort of at the beginning of the day, like right now. So I'm going to, I do reversals in my deck, so we might run into some of that. It's like spooking me out. Because full disclosure, before I shuffled this deck, I pulled the I was like drawing cards to use in the thumbnail, and I pulled, I think, the King of Pentacles, or the Knight of Pentacles. Is it the Knight of Pentacles? No, I don't think it was the Knight. I don't know. I pulled a card. It was a sword. I think it was the Page of Swords, and I was just like, please, I don't want that one. But anyway, because I don't like swords. Anyway, moving on. So the first card in this spread is a theme of your day. So this card is theme of your day, and I'm going to place it this side up. Okay, so this is the major arcana card. This is what it normally looks like. This is the major arcana card, Strength. I pulled it reversed, so I'm gonna have to look this up, unfortunately, but it is number 15 of 19, 20, 21. I don't remember how many cards are in the. This is great. I'm really looking like I know what I'm talking about. But let me quick go to. Oh, I could use my phone. I have this app on my phone that helps me remember what cards are. I am just looking for. I'm just looking for the meat. There we go. Major Arcana. Strength. So this comes between the Hermit and the Chariot. Inner strength, bravery, compassion, and focus is its typical. Is its balanced meaning. Imbalanced, of course, it would be self-doubt, weakness, and insecurity. So that's a good theme for my day, is self-doubt, weakness, and insecurity. Now, the way I look at tarot card readings is I think of, it's very important what's coming from you, because I don't think of the cards in a religious way, or in like a sentient way. I think of them as like, what is this bringing to mind for me, and what do I think that this means for, in terms of like the theme of my day. And so when I think of insecurity and self-doubt, I do think about work, because I have to go into work today and I have to do virtual court, and it is always in the presence of my mind to think about how everything can go wrong. And normally, especially with the particular sort of role I fill in the court, it's very easy for things that go wrong to feel like my fault. And so I think of this as like an encouragement to examine that when it comes up, that feeling of, is this really my fault? Is this really something I can control? Is this something that is bad about me, or is this just bad about the situation? Is this something that I can learn from, as opposed to just something that I have to sit with? So I may have a lot of feelings of self-doubt today, which would make sense given the context of my day. But getting this card as a reminder, as it's strength reversed. Like, there are other cards that it could have been used to specifically to show me about insecurity, of especially work related to work. But the fact that this one is strength reversed is a reminder that strength in balance is within reach. So like, when you think about, like, the Enneagram reminds me of this. If you guys know what the Enneagram is, but the Enneagram, you have a number in your Enneagram, and there's a lot of balance and imbalance in that too. And there's a talk about, I don't think they don't use the word balance, but like a growth versus I forgot what the opposite of the growth is, but it's like a one that I'm a two, so like a two that is in a healthy two and an unhealthy two is sometimes the way that they describe it. But someone who is like exhibiting the best qualities of a two, and sort of not plagued by the worst qualities, and on the healthy two is more in touch with the bad qualities of a two, or the obstacles of being a two. And is not so in touch with the good qualities. And so when I think of a reverse card, I think of like, there's an opportunity here to bring it back into balance, and return to the strength aspect of it. So that is what I'm going to think of this as for advice for my day, because it just sounds like good advice anyway. Sounds like the kind of advice my mother would give me. And that's never bad advice. So the next card is the space is called What's Hidden. And that is very heavily dependent on the card as to what it means, because that's why these things come up with very short, vague sort of descriptors, is because then it's much easier to fill the card in and fill the meaning of the card in. But the concept is, what is hidden from you, or what is hidden in your day, or what might you have to search for to find. So I'm going to pull this card. Ooh, this one's up, and it is the Ace of Pentacles. So Pentacles means like a material resources, sort of. And the Ace is the first card in the material resources. So part of its meaning, at least, is that it symbolizes sort of the beginning of something, the beginning of a journey. Tarot is a lot about journeys. The beginning of an adventure, beginning of an opportunity. So this does say a new opportunity, or a new venture, and prosperity, and those sorts of things. And so something that's hidden might be a new opportunity. This is also interesting because when I go into work, I have to take care of a lot of things, because I only go into work like once-ish a week at this point. I'm going to start going in more often now. But and so there's usually a lot of paperwork and a lot of other stuff to do. And so it's very easy for me to envision that in amongst all that paperwork, and in amongst all the things that I just need to get done because it's the one day I'm in the office, there is something lurking that I should more carefully examine. And I think this is more of an encouragement just to not think of that stuff as busy work. It's not busy work. It's important. It needs to get done. But it is it can be very tedious. And it can feel very menial, and like like I just need to get it done and sort of hurry through it as best I can. And so this card suggests that maybe that's not the best idea. Maybe I should look more carefully at what sort of opportunities can come out of that work. For instance, what juvenile defendants, that's usually my work revolves around, what juvenile defendants could use more, I want to say care, but that's not what I mean, but like use more resources, use more of my time, and could I be an actual a useful resource too? Because a lot of times I don't interact with these kids until they come to court, but maybe some of these kids that I'm going to at least see their files today, maybe they would benefit from sort of a pre-court convo. And in fact, that reminds me, I do at least have to meet with one kid before they come to court. But that's on my to-do list, not on my live stream. And then the last card is advice. And so I have struggled with this because I think of all tarot as advice. I don't think of it as like telling the future. So I think you may have noticed that I characterize both of these cards in terms of like what they could be encouraging me or advising me to do. And so I find it hard to separate advice from tarot. So when the card is just supposed to be advice to me, I don't know how to make that different. So that's something I'm working on in my personal tarot practice. But the card is, it's upside down. There it is. This is the card that I saw. It's the Knight of Pentacles. So this is what it normally looks like. I shuffled and everything, but he was going to come up. So he's reversed. And the Knight of Pentacles. So the Knights usually, in the minor arcana of the tarot, you have sort of like a deck of cards, because as you'll recall from last week, the tarot were originally just a deck of cards, a kind of game. But the minor arcana have an ace through 10, and then they have a page. In this deck, they're a princess, a knight, a queen, and a king. And those are like the face cards. I think they're called something. I don't remember. But those cards typically represent a person, or at least they can represent a person depending on sort of what they, where they are and what they mean to me, or, the person who's being read. So the Knight of Pentacles advice. The Knight of Pentacles, I don't know why I was scared of this one. It's just Pentacles sort of freaks me out. But because it's about resources and it's about like materialism, and there's a lot of pentacles, like none of the ones that I drew, but there's a lot in the minor arcana, in the numbers of pentacles that talk about like poverty and suffering and also greed and obsession. And I don't like those things. So I don't want to like have advice about that. I get like whatever, they're all equal in both good and bad, but whatever. The Knight of Pentacles is actually a pretty good card, a well-meaning card. So upright, the Knight of Pentacles is a person who is efficient, hardworking, diligent, responsible, someone who does their duty. I thought the word duty. And I also think of, I was recently listening to a podcast about Harry Potter, and they were talking about devotion, the concept of devotion as duty plus love. So doing things that you have to do, but out of a place of love for the person you're doing them for, or for, if you're devoting yourself to your work, or if you're devoting yourself to like the cleanliness of your house and stuff, like who are you loving? Or what are you loving by being devoted to those things? Excuse me. And so it's interesting for me to think of the Knight of Pentacles as a representation of devotion. I don't know that that's what he means really, because Pentacles is not really about relationships. That's more cups. And this guy is more about material resources. So he's he's hardworking and efficient, and diligent because he is getting his stuff done, and he, he's non-negotiable in that these things need to get done. I'll get them done because otherwise we won't have food on the table, as an example. For him, or for me, this card represents my brother, among other people. I'm sure if I really examined my life. My brother Patrick, he owns his own company, and he goes to the gym like every day, and just the amount of just work ethic that man has is impressive to me. And so whenever I think of the Knight of Pentacles, I think of him. Now, unfortunately, this is reverse. A reverse Knight of Pentacles is work without reward. Work without reward. There's a lot of R's and W's in there. Or laziness. It can also mean obsession. So it's sort of the opposite of, well, not the opposite, but an imbalanced form of devotion would be obsession. Maybe your love that is causing you to devote yourself to this is a love for the thing itself, or for something that's not necessarily healthy, or maybe is not a useful place for you to put your energy and your love. So thinking of the Knight of Pentacles as advice. Interesting to think of that. Straight up and down, what it seems like, what it feels like it could be, is advice in the positive, advice to be lazy, advice to be obsessive, or to work without reward. Those don't seem like good advice, especially not coming from and it's also like not sort of what I'm reading into it. So working without reward. I think, and there's other cards that represent working without reward, or laziness, or those other things. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio on like concepts equals a card. So the fact that this is a reverse Knight of Pentacles, taking it back to the reversed strength, suggests like maybe the advice is to bring that back into balance, to see the ways in which I'm just obsessing, or the ways in which I'm working without reward, and try to attach that to a deeper meaning, so that it is not work without reward, or it is not obsession, but is instead devotion. And that also sort of puts it in the right mind of, why am I doing this? In my experience, whenever I force myself to remember why I'm doing something, it directs my actual work a lot better. So I don't just do extraneous things that don't end up meaning anything or being useful. And so remembering why I'm doing something helps me to do it better. So having the Knight of Pentacles reversed as advice suggests to me that there are things I do in my day-to-day life, in my work, which I'm going to today, in whatever, that is not, that I don't do for the right reasons. That I either am doing to cut corners, or that I am doing because I'm obsessed with something that is unhealthy or not helping me. And this advice is to try to find those things, seek them out, or notice them when I'm doing them, and find the reasons to do them that are not unhealthy, or not unhelpful, or stop doing those things because they aren't necessary, and they're cluttering my time. I definitely feel like this is true just in my life. I've definitely become very lazy around quarantine. As you've seen on these videos, our house is a mess. And that's not just me, but that's definitely something I super contribute to, like super contribute to, and don't do anything about. And I think the laziness is coming out of an sort of unhealthy place of like, this doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters because no one's coming over. It doesn't matter because no one's going to see this. It doesn't matter because it's just me every day doing this stuff, using these things. So it doesn't matter that they don't get put away. It's fine if they stay in this like disordered existence. But that's sort of a nihilistic way of looking at things. And it's certainly not a way to show love to my house, or to show love to myself, or to show love to my husband. I am that it would be an absence of that would be an absence of work and an absence of diligence. But it specifically is a devotion to despair, or at least it feels it often when I get despairing or depressed in these days. I look around at how messy everything is, especially messy is not the only thing, but that's the first thing that's coming to mind because I'm looking around at it. And I think, and it reminds me that none of this matters and that everything is broken, and that things are especially hard right now. And if it were tidier, I know that for me, tidiness, cleanliness always helps me feel better. It helps me feel more settled and more capable and more ready, for whatever, ready to work, ready to accomplish, or just ready to accept whatever is coming. And I am anything but any of those right now. So I think that would be the advice is, I have sort of internalized it now as like clean up your house, but I think in general, going throughout my day, looking for the ways in which I can turn the actions or inactions that I'm taking from a devotion to despair or an obsession to a healthier place of taking care of myself and the people around me. So that, I think, is what I'm going to do. Here you can see the spread as it is. I hope I just clicked something, but hopefully it didn't do anything. This is the upside down strength, the reversed strength, meaning in the place of theme of the day. This is the Ace of Pentacles in the place of what is hidden. And this is the reversed Knight of Pentacles in the place of advice. I often feel that when I get the Knight of Pentacles, I do this all the time, but I've definitely felt when I've gotten the Knight of Pentacles before that I should call my brother. So maybe that is also some advice for me, is to call my brother. But now my dog needs to go outside, and I need to pack my lunch, and I need to go to work. So you guys have a great Tuesday. Oh boy. Make good choices, and I will see you tomorrow. Well, you will see me tomorrow. Maybe, I don't know who you are, so I don't know if I will see you. Probably not, though, because I don't see very many people anymore. Have a great day.